We're going to go ahead and get started. We're not going to take much time at all today. I just wanted to kind of give you an update on some of the decisions we made last week to really help us. If you've been around, you understand there's still issues with the app. There's still problems that go up and down. It's like and when you have one person that's having to do everything along with a small team, it's like I was talking to James and Pedro and Evelyn about this last week. When you've got a CTO who's not really a CTO, they want to be, they should be, they can be, but they're CTO in almost name only because they're trying to fix a car. It's like having a mechanic trying to fix a car when it's going 80 miles an hour down the road, or 50 miles or 5 miles, doesn't matter how fast it's going. And so, we are working on these things. And I made a decision last week that we're going to move to a different developer group, not when it comes to James. James is still the CTO. He's still overseeing things. But I want to free up his time to where he can be more of a role of making sure people are doing what they're supposed to do. He's dealing with developers. Some of them are overseas, some of them are local, and he's doing a lot of the work himself. And I want to take that away to where he can make sure he's testing stuff before it goes out, making sure that we're troubleshooting the problems. And so we made a change on Friday that we're implementing this week. We have a new group of people that was brought to us actually by our CEO, Pedro. He knows them. They're out of Ecuador. They're on a better time frame. They've actually, if you've never heard of a group called Rappi, R-A-P-P-I, or an app, you can look it up. It's very prevalent in South America. Pedro and I have actually used it when we were down there. And a lot of these development guys were, I don't know about instrumental, but I know they worked on it. And I know James has been impressed with what he's seen from them so far. So this is going to hopefully take us fast, because my goal now is to really turn on the advertising. And so I've planned on doing this for a long time. My goal was that drivers would go out and get their own rides. Like, that's still in my brain, doesn't compute to me why drivers don't understand that, hey, you know what, if I get a ride, I make 70% off of it, or I make 73% off of it. But if I get a customer and they keep doing rides, I mean, I can show you the data just from what Mark and Erica have done in Kansas City, that with less than 70 customers signed up, they're doing over 300 something rides a month. And most of those rides are repeat rides. Now, can you imagine if every single day they were not only doing those rides, but they were getting new customers? Like, I promise you, within 4 to 5 months, they probably wouldn't have to ever go out and get another customer, because those customers would, just keep them so busy they wouldn't even have to worry about it. But what has happened is, and I've realized that by getting in cars with drivers and talking to them, they're not great at sitting around and turning around and talking to the customer and converting them over. And so we are going to start doing advertising. I'm going to start bringing in customers. And guess what? You know what? That 3% that would have gone out and put it into a driver's hands, that'll go to the company. And that's okay. Like, as long as we start building, this thing and getting more customers, I'm okay with it. So we are going to be able to start ramping up. And the cities we're going to do it in first are the cities that are already doing rides. Now, we're working on all the regulatory stuff in Vegas and Nevada still. We're into this. And I know it's frustrating. I know it's, you're sitting there going, why aren't we open back in Nevada and stuff like that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I'm not going to open up and get in trouble again. We're okay now. We're in good standing with them. I paid the fine. But we've got to get the insurance component taken care of. We're working with a company who is trying to do this on a nationwide basis for us. Everything in business. And it's funny, a lot of times people don't understand the inner workings of what goes behind the scenes. And they're like, I don't understand why we can't just open and I got people that are yelling at me about why we aren't open in Australia yet. Well, if we can't walk in America, why would I try to run in Australia? So we got to get things right here. We got to get, our regulatory things done, which we're working on fast and feverishly, but it seems like it's going slower than Christmas, but we're not. We're working on it. And so one of the things I want to talk to you guys about, if you didn't see my Facebook post or you didn't notice it yet, last night I didn't even realize what an extreme privilege it was going to be. But So that's kind of the basics of where we're at this week, guys. We're going to do it in Pensacola. We're going to be doing it in Kansas. We're going to be doing it West Palm Beach. Atlanta is hopefully on the radar very quickly. We're working on that in Georgia to start really ramping it up and bringing some advertising dollars in. And then also out in Nevada, maybe in California. But if you want us to really start getting your area to go, start doing some rides. You know, it's like my mentor taught me a long time ago, you got to work where you're deserved, not where you're needed. If I can take Kansas City, who's already doing 200, 300, 400 rides, whatever it is on a monthly basis, and jump it up, or take Atlanta, or take West Palm Beach, or take Pensacola and throw gasoline on it, as long as we make sure, and I told the guys, like, listen, I'm not going to put advertising dollars into something until this app is strong enough to handle it. I can't dump 1,000 customers in. And I've got a program that I know we can do it. I know I can turn on the rides. I know I can get people in. And that's all we're lacking right now is the customers. But the app has to be correct. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you it has not been. I'm going to be the first one to tell you that, like, we still have some issues that we're working to make sure that we get right. And giving James the ability to not have to do coding, not have to be on top of it, but also being able to understand, you know, he's in a different mind frame. Like, listen, when everybody's coming at James, I told him the other day, I go, I'm ready for you to sit on the same side of the table as Pedro and Evelyn and I and the rest of the group. Because I guarantee you, a lot of times he feels like, oh my God, it's a defensive thing. And it's just natural. It's just a natural defensive thing. When everybody's coming at you and you're trying to get this right and it didn't work, you start trying to make, for lack of a better word, excuses. They're not always excuses. Some things, you might fix something over here and it might break over here. But when you're moving so fast and you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that and you're trying to encompass everything, a lot of times it doesn't work. And so I made a philosophical decision to say, hey, listen, you're done coding. I want you to actually become a CTO. And so we made a move from him utilizing the team that he was using to utilizing another team that he has no affiliation with, no, feeling for, because he's worked with his guys for a long, long time. Now it's time to move it over to people that we know have done this with Rappi, the thing I was telling you about, the delivery service. So it's time to make that change, and it's time to go fast. And I told him, listen, you don't have long. Like, this is not a runway. This is, I don't tell everybody everything, but I'm pretty honest with you guys. I have a $50,000 a month minimum burn rate out of my own pocket, which once we start advertising is going to go up exponentially from there. But I refuse to lose. I refuse for this not to go where it needs to go. And if drivers aren't going to be the ones going out and bringing all the customers, and some of you are, so this isn't directed. I don't want people to take anything personally. But overall, drivers are not built that. Holy mackerel. I thought I got kicked out for a second. So overall, drivers are not going to be the ones right now to go out and drive it. And we need this to drive. We need this to be, revenue. I have a whole plan put together that I know will work, but everything's got to work in synchronicity. So that's where I wanted to kind of tell you guys where we're at. And we're going to make some big changes. We're going to start going as fast as we possibly can. And I've already let these guys know they're on a very short leash. This is not about, oh, we need 4 weeks to look at things. We need this. No, you got to jump in. You got to fix stuff. You got to make the new things that we want to go right. But more than anything, the basics overall have to work solidly. When you get a customer that signs up, they shouldn't have a problem. We should have videos like one of the other projects, R-Link, that's in the ecosystem. They have a video for every single thing that you could have a problem with. And that's what I told Pedro and Evelyn and James. That's one of the biggest things I want done as quick as possible, because if somebody's having a problem signing up, now our system is different. Our system's a little bit different than Uber. So maybe we just need to make it so that they can see, hey, I'm having a problem with this. Let me watch this video and I'm going to click this button, click this button, click this button. Once people get it, it's fine. It's easy. It's just a different way of doing things. How many of you have ever, right now, I hate the way the photos are done on Apple, because on my phone, it was all easy for me to find. But I've been dealing with the new phone and the new update for the photos for 3 months. And guess what? I don't have a problem with it anymore. And I kind of like it better than the other one that we had before. But change is something that people don't like. So we're going to try to make it as simple as possible. We're going to start adding more categories in. We're going to start making this thing the way it was supposed to be. And I'm spending the money. And so if any of you think you're that committed, I'll let you come commit 50 to 100 grand a month with me. Just kidding. But it's time for me to start, getting that back. And not only just getting it, Mark, you may want to turn off your camera. We don't need to see topless men walking around. But so here's the last thing I wanted to leave you with. Yesterday, I was very blessed. I like to leave you guys with a little bit of motivation and things that, make sense to me and apply to what we're doing. And I was very, very lucky. I have a little golf course here at the par 3. I try to play it. I try to start my schedule, get up in the morning, be done by 8:30 so I can get on with my business day. But over the last 6 months, I've met a gentleman who is one of the guys. It's older guys that are retired. They don't really need to work, but they come out there and they're marshals and run the golf course. And it's been awesome. And I met this gentleman, and he's been talking to me about how he was in the boxing world. He was a referee. He knew Riddick Bowe. And then he started telling me about how he'd become friends and kind of not a mentor, but a confidant and just a really good friend to Evander Holyfield. And if you don't know who Evander Holyfield, I know Jeff Trills knows. He's from Atlanta. And Mr. Holyfield is from Atlanta, I think. But Evander Holyfield is good friends with him. And he told me last week on Tuesday when I was playing, hey, I think Evander is going to come over to the house, and I really want you to meet him. Just you and I getting to know each other. I think you and him would click and have a good, deal. And I said, I know why you say that, because Evander Holyfield in his 60s and me in my 50s, we're probably in the same exact shape physically. That was a joke. We're not even close. But on Saturday, he called me and said, hey, Evander's coming over on Sunday for Easter. I really want you to come by and spend some time and get to know him. And it was an amazing experience. I thought I would stop by for a few minutes, say hi to him, get to meet him, maybe meet him somewhere down the road. But I walked in and sat down to Easter dinner, got to start talking to him. And it was an amazing experience because this gentleman is so humble. And if you don't know who Evander Holyfield is, he's probably most notable for Mike Tyson biting his ear in a fight. But if you really look into his story and how he went into the Olympics and how he got disqualified and how it wasn't right that he got disqualified and didn't win the gold medal because of what happened in the Olympics. And then his journey all the way to becoming the only person in the history of the sport to become the 4-time heavyweight champion of the world in boxing. And he and I were talking about it yesterday, and it's kind of disconcerting that the guy that's the 4-time the only gentleman 4-time heavyweight champion of the world to ever do it, and for him not to get the recognition, him always be compared to other people, and he wasn't as good as this or he wasn't as good as that, and Tyson in his heyday, they didn't get to fight because Tyson went to prison. And we sat down and we just started talking about different business aspects. And I shared with him about REVO and why we're doing this, and how some days it's frustrating because people want to yell at you and they don't think you're trying to do the right thing, and they want to give you every reason why something isn't right. And I know it. I know things aren't perfect, but we're trying and we're working and we're going to get there. But what I was telling him, he goes, why do you keep doing it if you're spending all this money and it's hard and you're going up against, Uber? And he goes, how are you going to beat them? And I said, I don't care if I beat them. I don't need to beat them. I need to do good enough to prove what we're doing. And we already proved what we're doing is a great thing. I said, but my biggest thing is I keep in mind the drivers that are getting taken advantage of. In the next few weeks, you're going to start seeing a ton of videos where I'm in cars talking to drivers, giving them a little extra money and a tip, just, getting their experiences. And my goal with that is to bring more attention to REVO for you guys. And I said, when I get frustrated and I get down and things aren't going the way I want to, and I feel like everyone's against me, I sit there and I look at it and I say, you know what? I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this to help other people. I'm doing this for drivers. I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. And even though it may take a long time, I know in the end it's going to be sweet. And Evander Holyfield looked at me and goes, you're on the right track. Do not stop what you're doing. He goes, because I had the same thing. And then the gentleman, his name's Steven, my friend, he goes, I want you guys to sit down and watch this show with me. And there's like 5, 6, 7 people there, and I usually never ask for a photo, but my friend Steven goes, Paul, you got to get a photo with him. And I'm so glad I did, because what happened was we sat down and we watched something called Chasing Tyson. And I would encourage you to watch it. It's an ESPN 30 for 30. I don't know if it's new or not, but Mr. Holyfield had not seen it. And we sat there, and it's like a little over an hour program. And we started watching this, and it was all about, they called him Chasing Tyson was the name of the show, and how he was chasing this person they put up on a pedestal. Everyone thought that, nobody could beat Mike Tyson. No one would ever beat Mike Tyson. And it was funny because, not funny in a bad way, funny in a way that I never thought was going to happen yesterday, is he would stop. He would have our friends stop the video every 5 minutes or so and go, here, let me tell you what I was feeling here. Let me tell you what happened here. Let me tell you what was going on behind the scenes. It was like the most amazing experience to hear him talk about how somebody put this person up on a pedestal, Mike Tyson, and he never got the credit he was due. People would always say, like, if he, when he beat this person, it's because that person wasn't prepared, or this wasn't right. In the first fight with Tyson, they said the same thing. And then all the way through the fight, all the way through the end, and he kept fighting. And I mean, it was just amazing to hear him talk about it. And at the end of the deal, he goes, Paul, Uber is your Tyson. And like, I just got chills hearing it again, saying it myself. He goes, that's what you're chasing. And he goes, people are going to tell you it can't be done. People are going to tell you you're crazy. People are going to say, don't do this, da, 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 da. I know Angel Medina's dad was a big time boxer and very famous. And like, if you're not into that kind of sport, I understand, but don't think of it about that. Think of it of how long it took him, Evander Holyfield, to ever get any of the recognition that he should. He said when he was telling us last night, I have it on video. He said when he went over to China or Japan, I can't remember which one, and they introduced him, they were like, this is the only 4-time world champion, heavyweight champion of the world, and he's walking on our soil. And they were so revering of him and so respectful of him. And he said, I never got that kind of respect in the United States. They always try to tear him down. They always try to make what he did not good enough. But being the man of God that he is and how he believes, he's like, I'm at peace with it. And he is very instrumental in a lot of things. He and I are actually going to meet this week before he goes to Budapest and talk about a few things when it comes to our business, because he wants to know more. And it was just more, for me, it was great to hear someone say what he said, that Uber was our Tyson. Like, everybody's going to think they're doing better. Their app is better right now. They've got more rides. They've got everything handled. But guess what? We have the ability, if we stick together, we keep trudging along, we keep making I keep paying the bills and I keep the lights on and we keep going and going and going. And if one thing doesn't work, we change to another. But that was exciting for me. That was fun for me to be around someone like that, to see he started. It's like everybody's like, oh, look, you're at the pinnacle of success. He goes, they don't understand. It started when I was 8 years old, and it came from his mother telling him not to do this and not to do that, keeping him out of trouble. He never got into the drugs, never got into the problems, but it was just an amazing experience for me. And it reinvigorated me, motivated me, got me out of bed this morning at 4 a.m., ready to get after this. So I would encourage you every day to find something that keeps you going and watch what we start doing. We're going to make these changes. We're going to start going as fast as we can, but we're going to do it in a way that works. We're going to make sure that the app is working correctly. We're going to make sure that these problems are getting handled and that they're not going right back to the way they were. But I think it's going to be such a better opportunity for James to be able to oversee people and to sit on the side where he's not defensive. He's not having everyone come at him, and he can get these guys to perform and do what they need to do, because that's what a CTO's job really is. And same thing with Pedro and same thing with Evelyn. We're really working to get everything ready to scale. And then I'm going to put the money into it to start in these areas and really dump money into advertising, because there is a cost per acquisition per customer. But I know once we get that customer over time, that customer is going to stick with us and stick with us and stick with us. But we got to get it right on this side. So I didn't even look at the chat today, but I appreciate you guys. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, we're more than welcome to do that. But we're working really, really hard this week. I told him, you got to go. Like, there's no it's 24/7. There's no sleep. We got to get this thing right so that I can start scaling this thing and we can start helping you guys. And then once we hit a certain momentum, it'll just pop. So I thank you guys for being on with me today, and we will all talk to you soon. Have a great day.